Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So a long-awaited fun arrival has just reached my desk and I am terribly excited because I have been dying to try these. I've heard so much about them. So I had a little conversation with a Gallo and am thrilled to say that this video is a way for me to try out their paints. I'm so excited. Now, rather than doing a traditional Gallo palette, and we kind of agonized over this decision, I decided to choose a custom palette of colors that I thought that I would love to have and love to use, of things that were really unusual and that maybe I don't have already. And certainly that you might like to hear about or see. This is so cool. I love the packaging. It's amazing. That you might like to see in an Gallo video, because, you know, I noticed that as they come out with the new palettes, they definitely have lots and lots of people reviewing them. So why not create something a little more special in colors that I'm really super attracted to for this next season, and that I know that I will do a lot of painting with. So if you're on board and game for that, then hang out, because we're going to have an Gallo really good time. This is amazing. What is this? So this is watercolor paper, and you know what? It's got I think it's watercolor paper. It's got a really interesting texture to it. I haven't really ever felt anything like this, except maybe the crispiness of my Arches paper. So that's going to be really interesting to do the swatches on. Thank you so much for sending that. All right, here is the custom palette. So let's get this little baby open and see what's inside. I just want to remind you also that I will put links to these beautiful colors in the description box for you, so that you can easily find them at the best prices that I can find online. And all of the affiliate links that you do use through me go towards creating giveaways on my group page on Facebook. So if ever you feel like participating in the group page on Facebook, that link is below as well. And all of those really fun giveaways are funded by your affiliate links. That's what I use the affiliate links for. This is just so beautiful. I love the presentation so far. So pretty. Gallo from Italy, handmade. This is just beautiful. Look at that. They take such great care. I mean, it's a really nice box. Actually, you know, everything is like a keepsake that they send you. Let's get something to get our sticker off with. There we go. Oh my goodness, look at this. It just keeps giving. So you got tissue paper, and then you have their signature paper with another one of their beautiful gold stickers. This is incredible. I have to say the presentation is exquisite and something that I haven't ever experienced yet. Not in this way for sure. How is this stuck on though? Maybe I can just slide it out. Yep, I can. Okay. My dog is right now, she's trying to get at this desk. Really trying. And another beautiful sticker. Look at this. A nice weight metal case, a nicely weighted one in black. And a beautiful watercolor card. What did I just drop on the floor? With a little warning sticker. Choking hazard. Ah, look at this. Made by hand in Assisi. Is that what it says? Our watercolors are crafted according to a traditional recipe of raw pigments, gum arabic, local honey, and rosemary essential oils. Oh, that's right. I remember. gallocolors.com is their website. You know, I do remember hearing about the wonderful fragrance of this store. And they do have stores, by the way. I would assume that the stores are in Italy. I don't know if they're anywhere else, but you can probably find out on the website. Okay, let's see. Oh, look. It's beautiful. I am so excited about these colors. And there's a brush. Look at this. How lovely. Tintoretto size 6 Italy. I love these brushes. I actually found out about these brushes from this company, and I have been using, I don't have this one. I have been using these ones, which I absolutely adore. These are the Sintetico, the Vaio from Italy, size 8. This is like my favorite one. And then this is a Squirrel, and it's a size 6. Kazan, it says 1330. So this is the 1327, and it's a round. So now I have a round. I did not have a round before. This is just beautiful. I'm really, really thrilled with this. So I have a space. I wonder if I didn't pick one or if I'm missing one. Maybe they're going to send it to me. Oh, they're so pretty. Okay, so this comes out usually. Yep, there we go. And I'm going to read the colors to you. And then we will open them and give them a swatch, and maybe we'll paint something and see. So I'm just got to bend these open because I can never get them open on my own. Okay, so the first one is Azo Yellow Gold. So how could I not include an Azo Yellow, right? Pretty hard for me not to, because it's just one of my all-time favorite colors. So you know a palette has to have an Azo Yellow Gold. The next one that I chose is Royal Yellow. It must be interesting watching people unwrap these if they do a custom palette to see what they choose. You know, like when you get to a point with watercolor where you have a lot of color, you start to have your favorites, you know. Potter's Pink and a Permanent Carmine. This one is, what is it called? More Alone. Oh yeah, this is a beautiful color. I can't wait to try this one. Then this one is Nocturno. This looked gorgeous. You can see how these colors are going to look incredible in artwork, right? Sap Green, because you have to have a sap green. Then this next one is Harbor Blue. This is a beautiful color too. Actually, these are all beautiful colors. You're going to fall in love with them. Forest Green. Yeah, I'm so glad I did it this way. Deep Sea Green, because this is a palette that nobody has and nobody has seen before. Lapis. You know the lapis blue is going to be beautiful. You know what's supposed to go here? This is going to be the new blue that just came out. And as soon as it arrives, we will definitely add that into this palette. So there is room for the brand new blue. It just hasn't arrived yet because they are making a batch of it. So I have no doubt that that is coming next. So hang in there. All right. So why am I putting these away? We've got some swatching to do. Luce, we have some swatching to do. Let's get these out and let's get to swatching, shall we? Okay, so they're all unwrapped. Put my little, these are actually look like hand painted pieces of very thick, like 300 GM watercolor paper. Interesting. So you know what I usually do is I save them and I usually go back and paste them on my color charts in my book. Got out some other ones too that I'm working on. These are, this is a series that I'm doing on this channel, and I've done the yellow so far, so you might want to go watch that for the best yellows to film my Fraser Price palette. And these are the blues that I've done. So I brought these charts just to keep on hand here so that I can kind of reference these colors next to anything else that I might have. I made a chart for a Gallo, and then of course I've got my Schmincke Hortum chart on hand just in case. So I've got 2 glasses of water, and I just created this with my black liner. I love these pens. If you're ever looking for a waterproof pen, you know I always recommend these. like crazy, you know. Okay, let's go ahead and swatch. So let's use the brush that they gave me, the Tintoretto size 6 round brush. I'm excited. I love these brushes. I have been progressively enjoying them more and more as I go through. You know, over my birthday, I got the first two. And actually, I think it was because I watched a video on this watercolor company trying to decide on what was the next colors that I wanted to try. And I'm just going to wet these really quick. Ooh, look how quick that yellow grabbed. You know what? Maybe we'll just put a dot so I don't mix my colors up. I want to see how quickly they wet. If I just pre-wet them a little bit, I should have just sprayed them, but I just put a dot in. Yeah, I wanted to, I was looking at some handmade watercolors and wanted to see what they were like. And that's when I saw these brushes. And of course, I'm an affiliate on Jackson's. And I love it because we're able to take that commission, that small commission we get, and use them for the giveaways, you know, for my classes. If you want to take watercolor classes, I have giveaways there. I also have giveaways pretty much everywhere on our YouTube page. So this is a very, very beautiful color. It's definitely different than the Azo Yellow by Daniel Smith and different than the Azo that I'm currently using by Roman Schmal. This is more like a sunshine yellow right off the bat, where the other ones that I've used, see how they have more like a nickel azo, right? More gold in them. But of course, this is PY 151 and PY 43, where my typical nickel azo is PY 150. So just because it's azo, this is azo yellow gold. So it's not really supposed to be the same. I would think that it's closest to, like, it's not quite a permanent yellow light, but, and it's definitely not like the Hansa yellow. It's more gold. It's more like maybe a Cad yellow by Schmincke, but honestly, it's not like any of them specifically. And I love it because it's not only really smooth, but if you're looking at this swatch here, let me get you in a little closer. It's very much like sunshine. It looks like a sunny sunflower color. I'm looking in my viewer and it kind of looks a little brighter in the viewer than it actually is. Here, you see what I mean? It's got like that really, really nice like sunflower color. So if you're going to paint sunflowers, this is your color. And that's why I originally chose it for sure. Now the pale yellow, see how, or no, that's not pale, royal yellow. Oh, it's surprisingly so close to it. This is PY 154. I just want to see what it dilutes out to be. So you can get a really beautiful, like translucent pale yellow out of it, but they're honestly really, really similar. I'm so surprised. Very, very similar. One's just got a little more lemon, like the lemon qualities to it, but still gorgeous. Both of them are beautiful. This is the Potter's Pink. So far everything re-wets really well and gets to like a very strong strength very quickly. I don't have to waste a lot of paint. I don't have to get a ton of paint on my brush. That's really cool. I'm wondering if you guys can hear me. I'm kind of, let me lower my microphone for you. Hopefully that's better. The Potter's Pink is beautiful. It's a very, very pretty Potter's Pink. Very smooth, and even at a very watered down state, the Potter's Pink is pretty gorgeous. You know, it's not really giving me a hard time. It's not really streaky. That's PR 233. The carmine, as you know, I love permanent carmine. I've loved it in pretty much anything that I have tested it. I really love the even, uh-oh, I touched this. I even love the White Knight version. It's amazing. Surprisingly, it's one of my favorites in White Knights. There are some White Knights paint that I've tried that I almost can't choose away from. They're so nice. So this permanent carmine is very strong. It is a takeover color for sure. Gonna try and clear away some here and see if I can just kind of represent a few of the values. Oh, you know, and I haven't been putting them on my little swatch card. Let's get caught up with that. This is really small though. So permanent carmine. Look at how beautiful. Potter's pink. Royal yellow. That royal yellow is just sunshine in a box. Gorgeous. And the azure yellow gold. It looks much different now. Maybe using it on a lighter strength, you can see a vast difference between the two. See what I mean? They look a lot different now. Yellows are tough. I sometimes will choose yellows and I'll be like, oh my goodness, you know? This is gorgeous color. More Alone. This is PR 101 and PR 102 mixed. Gorgeous color. So Roman Schmal has a color called Mortem, and it reminds me of this color, and I've been wanting to do more with it in coordination with Potter's Pink. So that's why I grabbed this one, because it's just so beautiful, and I thought for fall and winter I probably would use this a lot to just do some moody cities. And that's what I'm after, you know? It's a gorgeous color. Nocturno is the next one. And this is more of like a midnight color. I was thinking I could use this for Midnight Sky instead of my traditional indigos or Prussian, you know what I mean? And this is more of a purpley sky. And I thought also maybe I could mix this with Luna or Moonglow by Daniel Smith, and perhaps, you know, get some interesting art doing combinations with those, you know. Nocturno, I love it. It is so pretty. This is going to look gorgeous in my cityscapes this year. Can't wait to do those. And I have a class on that coming out, guys. So if you'd like to check out JacquelineJacks.com, then you can get hooked up with all my classes. All right, sap green. I have to say, so far, these are a more expensive paint, but you can get them on Jackson's, and I'm sure they will be, you know, part of the Jackson sales. But aside from sales, these are so worth the money. Now, what happens a lot with cheap paints is they've got a lot of fillers in them. So you end up going through just so much more paint. What I notice with these paints that I don't have in any other paints except for like maybe Helio colors is the quantity of pigment that's in the paint just from a touch, just a small little drop of paint. Like I'm noticing right now from that one little drop, it is generating so much color that I don't have to work to get color. In fact, I have to be careful not to pick up too much color because I feel like I'm way washing away the majority of my paint. Like I'm just going to take a tap of this color in Harbor Blue and look at how highly pigmented it is. It just wants to come. You see what I mean? a tiny little tap of color. So what you're getting is, and this is something they don't say on the website to justify the prices, you're getting highly pigmented paints that, to be honest with you, they're way better than Core, and I do like Core, but these are gorgeous. The colors are beautiful. I'm going to be interested to see how they dry, because a lot of times, one thing that drives me crazy is I'll love the paint when it's wet, and then when it dries, I notice it's way too dusty. It doesn't visually keep changing into something that I'm so crazy about. And that's why I'm really careful about colors I use on my art. I just mix two colors together. Oh my goodness. These are so, so pretty. And they definitely overfill their paint pans. So you get plenty of paint. I mean, even these little half pans, you're not going to run out of paint quickly at all. I mean, look at how much paint I'm wasting just by not doing a piece of artwork right now. It's crazy. So this is deep sea green. I almost put it in the wrong one. It's right there. So I'm going to have to change the order of these. So I wrote it down wrong here. Oh my goodness. It's a gorgeous green. Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm going to look at some of the comparison colors in just a second when we go through. This next one is forest green. Oh, I love it. Ugh, the color, I just tap my brush on, guys, and it's like you get so much pigment. Now, that is something I haven't heard anybody mention at all. It's so concentrated. It's like you may as well have full pans for half pans. So if you think this is not going to give you your bang for your buck, well, something that they didn't mention that I just figured out is you only need little half pans of this. So what a great travel set this was make. It seems like they dry well. They're not going to like move around. And the colors are insane. They're so nice. Lapis Genuine. Oh my gosh, even just right out of that. Now, I have a lapis by another company, and I believe it's Daniel Smith, and I can't get color out of that to save my life. It literally, I want to paint with it, but it's a genuine, and I just can't get enough color. So whatever they've done here, they have just given me the perfect lapis. I'm going to show you the lapis comparison right in just a second, because it's a world of difference. You can't even get enough color. So there is one color missing. They're just out of stock, and I'm waiting on it. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. It is another blue. It's a specialty color that I'm really excited to try. So when it gets here, we will come back and do a video on it and add it. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm so thrilled with these colors. I'm happy with my choices, and this brush is amazing. It's got a really big belly, so it holds a ton of water and pulls so much paint out of this set. Okay, so let's really quickly look at some comparisons. First, let me grab the lapis by Daniel Smith, because that is something out of my book. That is something that I noticed right away. So, where is it? I want to see where it is. Oh, okay. So the Lapis Genuine is right here by Daniel Smith. And it took me forever to get this amount of paint out of it. I literally struggled so bad. I want to say, I think also the Azure was the same. Yeah, I'm looking at my bigger charts here. And the same thing happened with that one. I had such a hard time pulling enough of the paint that I was like, I'm not going to order that color. And I really want to paint with this lapis. I think it's so beautiful, but I've had a really, really hard time getting even this amount of color. Now look at the one that came from Gallo. It is insane. I got so much color out of it. Look at that. I mean, you can't get any more color, right? You see how light this one is? And then how much color just a tap of my brush brought me. So that I'm thrilled with. Yeah, so I kind of want to choose that one for one of my palettes. I like it. That might hit my favorites list. As far as Potter's Pink, my favorite Potter's Pink right now is one by Schminke. And that is right here. So I have two favorites. This is the Schminke Potter's Pink. It's really beautiful. And in comparison, you can see the swatch of the Gallo Potter's Pink. So slightly different, right? The Schminke Potter's Pink is really like, it breaks apart. The Potter's Pink by Gallo, you're able to get more of a consistent wash of Potter's Pink in this color. And then just for the heck of it, let's look at the Potter's Pink that I have from Roman Schmal, because I just got a Potter's Pink from them that I really love, but I need to look and see if it compares to this one. And actually it doesn't. So this one is beautiful. I love it, but it is a bit streaky when it dries. This one looks like it performs a little bit like deeper. You get more color out of it, a lot more like moodiness. I do like the granulation in the Schminke though, it reminds me, but still this is gorgeous too. I kind of can't choose between these ones right now. And you can see why, right? But at the end of the day, this is really a good performer because it didn't really require me to work at it to get it on the brush, which is hard. Sometimes Potter's Pink is very difficult to re-wet, and it is kind of similar to this where it's very diluted when wet. This one did not perform that well or that way at all. It actually performed really differently. So if I were going to choose a Potter's Pink, I honestly think that the Gallo Potter's Pink is the way to go if you like the way that it performs, because it's more of a solid color and you get a lot more color for a lot less work. So at the end of the day, probably it's more economical to buy it by Gallo. I just stuck my finger in paint. Okay, so let's look at the next color that I want to compare, and that's the Moralone. Moralone is very similar to like a Paralone Violet, and by Roman Schmal, it's probably really close to this Caput Mortem color that I really love for fall. So the Paralone Violet, no, wouldn't choose Schminke over that because it just doesn't cut it. But I think it's a toss-up when this dries between the Roman Schmal Caput Mortem and the Moralone. Now the Caput Mortem is a PR 102, and this one is PR 102 mixed with PR 101. So this one has two colors in it, which could be interesting as it dries. I think they're both slightly a little different, but very similar. Right now, I love the winey color of the Caput Mortem in the Roman Schmal, but this Moralone is such a beautiful earth tone. This would be so, so nice in so many things. So if you were going to get a Gallo paints, then definitely get this one in replacement of Caput Mortem if you're looking for that tone and that color. And this Nocturno is just driving me crazy. I love it. Kind of reminds me a bit of Shadow Violet, but not quite. It's like slightly different. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really seen a color like this. There is a color by Roman Schmal that I'm really happy with. That is this one, Prisbiz Gray. And it kind of has the attributes for that. Prisbiz Gray, though, is PR 177 and PG 26. And this one, Nocturno, is PB 29, PR 14, and PV 19. So they are different. This is gorgeous. This is going to be really pretty for night scenes. And you know, the thing with the gray is that it dries gray. This one looks like it's drying a lot more like of a deep purple, which kind of reminds me of Shadow Violet by Roman Schmal a little bit. And if you look at the colors, PB19 is in both. PB29 is in both. The difference is Shadow Violet by Roman Schmal has PG50, and the Notturno by A. Gallo has PR14. I really love this Notturno. I think it's gorgeous. The carmine's drying beautifully. It really is. And I think I like this now better than my White Nights carmine, if that is even possible, because I really like that one. The sap green is gorgeous. Sap green is really, really beautiful. I'm trying to think of which sap green I use the most. I use Hooker's Green by Roman Schmal a lot. Hooker's Green is PY 150 and PB 27. This one does not have any of those colors in it. It kind of looks very similar to the Hooker's Green by Roman Schmal, but I love this one. This is beautiful. I think this one's going to perform really well in nice mixes. If I look at the greens by Schminke, there's really nothing that compares to it on this chart at all. You know, if I pull out the Daniel Smith, I know there's a sap green by Daniel Smith that I've used before, I believe. Sometimes I use so many different ones that I don't remember which one is which, but I think maybe there's a green that I've been using. Let me see where it is. It could be by White Nights. Maybe. I don't know. Let me see here. No. So, as far as these sap greens, there's really nothing that compares to this. It's really beautiful though, right? This is a gorgeous green. It almost has this like brightness to it that is so pretty. I'm interested to see what it looks like in the mixes. I'm also noticing, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm noticing a difference between the way the Azu Yellow Gold and the Royal Yellow are drying. I know they're pretty close, but it's interesting to see how they dry, and I think probably that's going to come out in the mixes. Harbor Blue is stunning. I don't think I have anything like this blue. If I were going to compare it to something maybe by Daniel Smith, it would be Mayan, I believe. So true. Let's look and see if it's close to Mayan. This Mayan blue. No, not really. So it's not really close to Mayan blue. That's what I thought it would be most close to. This one has like different, like you can see the PBR8 and the PB15 kind of separating. So lovely. It's really beautiful. Maybe like the super granulating glacier turquoise. This might be close to that. Or the lunar blue. It might be close to lunar blue. So somewhere in between. The lunar blue doesn't separate all the time as much as I'd like. This one separated really, really well. The glacier turquoise does separate pretty well, but kind of smooths out. And this one seems like it's keeping that choppy look, which I would love for my backgrounds. So this would be really, really pretty. I think. I love this one. Harbor Blue. That's a gorgeous one. Deep Sea Green is stunning. It's somewhere in between an ultramarine, turquoise maybe, and it's got a little more green in it, like helio or phthalo green, but not quite as bright as phthalo green. It definitely would take over, but it's not as much of a takeover color, right? But it's gorgeous. Great for this palette. So that's kind of my comparison with these. As far as the forest green, that's just stunning. Is it as foresty as jadeite? No, not really. Jadeite is a beautiful color that you can see right here. It's not as dark as jadeite. It kind of dries more of a cascade green by Daniel Smith, which is absolutely lovely to have in this palette, or it would maybe be compared to the cobalt green dark by Schminke. So that's why I chose it, because I love having these colors in a fall palette. I think I'm going to be able to get a really neat orange too out of one of these. So let's just mix up a couple of colors down here and see what this yellow, if we take the royal yellow, get some clean water on my brush. Okay. And I take the carmine and let's see how they like to bleed into each other and what they do. So we're going to just really carefully touch the two and see what happens. So they don't want to travel, like, you know, when you touch two together in core, those things take over, you know, they bleed right into each other. So I think these are pretty easy for just about anybody to paint with, because a lot of times you'll mess up. And if you're one of those people that messes up and touches other paint and you really don't want it to move that much, that's a paint that would perform really well for you. This makes a beautiful shift into oranges, mixing the permanent carmine with the royal yellow. I really, really like that. That's just beautiful. So I ended up getting a really pretty yellow. Yum. So, so nice. Let's mix the lapis with our yellow and see what kind of green I get. So I notice now, as my lapis has dried a little bit more, it was a little harder to get the darkness. You have to get it wet for a second, but then it re-wets really, really fast. So now let's going to mix this with a little bit of that gold, the azo. Let's see what I get. A little more color. Beautiful. Oh yeah, this is pretty. So I can even mix these two and get some interesting greens. I wonder what my other blue is like that's on the way. I think that's going to be, you know, the one blue that's missing in this palette. This is a really pretty contrast, the two of these together. They make a really interesting level of green because this is a genuine color, you know? This is really pretty. Look at this gorgeous green you get by mixing these two. So pretty. That's really interesting. Then the other one I wanted to combine is to get some Potter's Pink. And we're going to mix this kind of like a little grade shade. With the More Alone. So I wanted to see these two kind of like together. You know what I mean? As like a really beautiful background. That's really pretty. Yeah, they're lovely. They're so pretty together. I figured they would be. Now let's try the Nocturno in a background like a sky. Just like tiny little areas. And I'm just going to blend it down a little bit. And I'm going to add a bit of Potter's Pink. Let that go down to the bottom. Look at how pretty that is. Let it blend in between just a bit. So I want this, oops. My Nocturno a little darker, blending down towards the Potter's Pink. I am using way more color than I need to. Got to get used to this. I'm used to grabbing so much more color. It's very easy to control. Normally, when I start to combine colors, it goes right down immediately. This one, it stays pretty put and it lets me drag it down. Cool. And then at the bottom, so just add a little more. Pretty. Yeah, that's beautiful. Really pretty. Oh, I think you guys are getting blocked. You can't see. See what it did? It's beautiful. Really, really pretty. So this is the Nocturno into the Potter's Pink. So lovely. Yeah, I'm really enjoying these. They're so fun to do. How about Harbor Blue? Let's get a bunch of the Harbor Blue. So if I were using Harbor Blue as my sky color, like a really nice midnight sky color, I'm trying to paint these tiny little areas. There. Then, what do we want to put? I wonder what happens if we put carmine, like if we start to get like a shade of purples, or what we get. Oh yeah, look at that purple. Sorry. Look at this beautiful purple color. Lovely. Yeah, so this would be so interesting. So can you imagine, like, if you did a skyline, so you did this as your nighttime sky, and then you have the carmine down below, and then you have like a cityscape view right there. That would be so, so beautiful. Yeah, these are pretty. Same thing I think I can probably do with the deep sea forest, just I can have this coming up. And then I can have a little bit of the yellow in between so that we have a little bit of some brightness here. I always like to do these little tests because it's kind of fun, you know? Yeah, so your earth part would be your forest for that nice, beautiful deep sea. And then you can make some really like different yellows and greens as you go up. And then you do like maybe a harbor blue, like a light shade of harbor blue for the sky. Really pretty. Yeah, that's really nice. And you can even go a little darker as it gets closer. Like tiny little paintings. Look at how pretty that is. Can you see it? So this is the forest green mixed with the royal yellow, and that makes kind of like the different shades of olive and sap green. Oops, I just dropped my brush. And then this is the harbor blue. Isn't it so pretty? It's really beautiful. All right, so I'd love to know from you what your favorite colors are in this palette that I chose. Do you like the palette? Would you use it? Are these colors that you could really get behind and love? Is it something that you know, you want to see more of? Just let me know your opinion. I'd love to know, guys, because I'm interested. This is a Gallo. So I'll leave the affiliate links below. If you do purchase with my affiliate link, please don't forget to let me know, especially on the group page, because you will enter to win a paint giveaway, as well as if you paint with something that, you know, if you paint and you tag Jack's Art Challenge from one of the challenges, then you'll enter to win one of those gifts as well. So there's quite a few ways to win. And of course, as always, I have paint classes over on my website at jacquelinejacks.com. Have a great one. Thanks for swatching with me. This was really fun. I learned a lot about these colors, and I think that they're so interesting. I can't wait to get that last one for my set because I really need that deeper blue. It's going to be fun. All right. Have a great one and happy painting.